Welcome to Is Franchising Right for You? With your host, Rick Morgin. Through each episode, we'll demystify preconceived notions about franchising, both entrepreneurs franchising and those buying a franchise. You can find this show on all the major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Now here's the host of Is Franchising Right for You? Rick Morgin.
Hi, Marie.
Hi, Rick. How are you?
I'm doing well. It is an honor and a privilege to have you as a guest on this podcast. Now, you're not involved in franchising per se, but there are so many elements of what you've done and accomplished that can apply to anybody listening who is looking to get into a franchise. You're a consummate entrepreneur. You've built some incredible companies. I'm going to have you talk about them in a minute. I think you are the ultimate networker and connector. And so these aspects of entrepreneurship, building an outside network to develop referral relationships, to generate business, and then you're an author. And you've just written, I'm not sure if this is your first book or second book, but at the end, we're going to talk about that and give you a chance to talk about that. So if I recall, you have maybe 5 or 6 businesses under your belt that you've developed, you manage, you promote, and you connect people through. Describe those businesses and tell us what drives you.
Okay. The first company that I started was a real estate brokerage, but I ended up creating my own company, which is focused on marketing program, and that is called Finest Women in Real Estate. And then after I created the Finest Women in Real Estate, I spin off in creating Fire Up Connect, which is more catered to the business professionals from different industries. And then after that, I also have what we call the International Wealth Builders Association, because I am so involved in the real estate and that I ended up being part of the investing industry. So it was an incredible group of people that I ended up connecting. So I started the International Wealth Builders Association. So that's the third company. Now, I've always helped the community through a nonprofit organization. And this is before I even started Finest Women in Real Estate. And that is what we call Inland Valley Business and Community Foundation. Okay. So that started in 2010. And then Finest Women in Real Estate started in 2014. Fire Up Connect somewhere around 2016, 2017. And International Wealth Builder just started a year ago. So those are the 4 companies that I have. And I'm forgetting if there's another company I'm missing. But I am a director for the Global Society for Female Entrepreneurs here in San Diego. So that is another organization, but I'm not the founder of that. That was Robbie Motter, who's the founder of it. And I joined her organization as one of the directors.
Now, you've incorporated radio and television into your business enterprises.
Yes.
Is that a way to market the businesses, or how do you incorporate that and tell the
Yeah, so the radio shows that I have, which is called the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio, it is actually I was approached by a radio producer. This was during the COVID times that we have, and he approached me. He wanted me to be a part of his show, which is what we call the Fabulous Lifestyle, and I became a partner with him on the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio. So I forgot to mention that I did also create another radio show called Real Men of Real Estate, because Real Men of Real Estate is part of what I have done with Finest Women in Real Estate. Okay, so I created also a Real Men of Real Estate radio talk show, and the radio show helps people promote their business, helps educate the listeners, and helps build their brand as a radio host. And they also bring a lot of experts from different types of industries, and they provide all kinds of amazing information for people to listen and to learn from it.
In fact, it was maybe a couple of years ago. I was a guest on your radio show, I recall.
Yes,
Yes, and I appreciate that. But it seems like everything is focused around your real estate business, and then you have these spokes that for other businesses have developed. You've also published a magazine that we haven't talked about.
that's
But
correct.
all of this is centers around not only creating business for yourself, but also helping others.
That's
And
correct.
that's the consummate entrepreneur, the consummate connector. It's you're going to get when you give. Is that kind of your philosophy? And
Yeah, I believe that when I create a project, it's always better to bring in people and to collaborate with others and share the benefits of the program. I just truly think that it cannot be a um, solo business. It always involves other people. So I like to bring in people. Like the radio show was a very strategic way of how I run that project, because it wasn't only me who's the radio host. I brought different people that became the radio host. And one story that I want to share with you is that when I brought this one individual, she didn't really know how to host, and she was really like doubting, is she the right person for this? And I said, well, look, we're all going to learn how to do radio hosting, and we'll see what happens. And after practicing, and after being on live, and after doing all the shows, she ended up having her own radio show now. So I think it's becoming like a training ground for people who doesn't know how to do radio hosting. They step in, and then they start learning how to fine tune their communication, and that's how they ended up being good at it, right?
right. Practice
Yeah.
makes perfect. Practice builds confidence so that you can branch
Yes.
off and do it on your own. But it's a vehicle for you to introduce business owners what they
Hmm.
have to contribute as far as their business and what they're trying to achieve. I'm a member of your networking group, Fire Up Connect.
Yes.
I've been a member for this is probably my third year, and I love your format.
Thank
And
you.
it's a way to connect me and business owners from a variety of industries and exchange and learn from each other, and then also create the relationships that we're comfortable creating a referral relationship. And in fact, your latest meeting was yesterday, and that was really enjoyable, even though it was a small group.
I
Is that
always like small groups, though.
well, yes, even with a small group, it we get engaged in the conversation, and sometimes we just run out of time to talk about everything that may be on your agenda or your flow. But all of these businesses really seem to connect people. Is that what drives you? Is that what?
Yes, I like to see people really get the idea of how to work together, because if like for example, I actually introduced um, this gentleman in a business. Actually, it was at the business workshop I did, and so I introduced him to another group, and I'm trying to remember. Oh, they were in the Queens Business Expo that I had last month, and so they met there. And he's a chiropractor, and he's in the business of do-it-yourself tools, right? So there was no connection between the two. So when I introduced both of them, I went there and I made sure that they understand how they can collaborate. They couldn't see it. They didn't
Mhm.
know how a chiropractor can work with someone who deals with tools, do-it-yourself tools. These are like handy equipments for fixing things at home. So I said, you guys have to really think outside the box. You have an office and you have a product, and he has a YouTube who has 22,000 subscribers. What do you think would be a beneficial way for you to work together? And they started thinking, and that's how they created an idea that, yeah, they can work together. But that's where sometimes you don't see it, And that's where I come in. And I want to make sure that they understand that there is a way that you can work with someone that's outside your industry. Because I am in the fashion industry, real estate industry, healthcare industry, entertainment industry, and I was able to manage to go into those industries with no problem at all. And that is the creativity of what you have to, think outside the box and figure out how you work with someone that's outside your circle of network.
So, okay, so I think the lesson there is for a franchise owner, an entrepreneur with an independent business, is not just to think within your lane, your channel, but if you want to grow, is be creative. Uh,
Yes.
Sometimes that creativity can not pan out the way it is, but you learn from that and then you improve. And
Yes. Let me give you one more example, Rick, because I met a gentleman through LinkedIn, okay, and he was not in real estate. He was in the digital marketing business. But when he and I started talking, I educated him with what I do, including real estate, and we were talking about how he can make money on different types of businesses. And when he understood what I was doing, he actually connected me to a couple of investors from Canada that ended up coming here in the United States, and we were able to introduce them to a project to where they ended up buying $8 million of that project, where me and the person that was in the digital marketing business ended up benefiting from it. But he was not in real estate, but because he understood what I was doing and how he can benefit from it. Again, this is outside the box, right?
right.
This is how he saw that it would work for him, and that's how it came about. And we both did well from making these connections.
Oh, that's a great story. Now,
Yes.
now within your framework of your businesses, what I also appreciate is that you have both online and live events. And I've been to one. It was well, this November would be 3 years ago. But that's a forum that you've think that works both online and live. And
Yes. I love the fact that when it comes to online is you get to, take the time to tell your stories and listen to other people's challenges, because you're communicating and you're listening. You're 100% attentive to what someone else is saying. In the live event, it's very energetic and there's a lot of activities going on in there, and so it's a different atmosphere, different environment, but different way of networking also. And I actually talked that about in my book in terms of how do you network with people when it comes to going into a live event. So again, it's a matter of how you position yourself in regards to presenting yourself through online and also through live events. There's so many different ways to get involved and understand how to be active in those activities. So online is much. I prefer a smaller group because I like to get to know the person more in depth. When it comes to live event, I like to have the connections, but I'm more on the observing side of who they are and how they communicate. So I'm more in that sense when it comes to the live events.
well, you've brought up your book. Do you have a copy with you that you can put on screen and show?
Yes, I'm really excited about this. This is who do you think you are? And it's build your name, build your brand, and build your legacy. This is the book.
So talk a little bit more about it.
Okay.
What are you trying to convey to a reader of that book? And
Okay.
then
So this
where
book
we can find it.
is okay. So this book is to help people understand some of the basic principles of how they can build their name, and ultimately they will be focusing on their brand in terms of how do they get involved within their community in terms of their branding, and then later on they're going to realize that their legacy is being built among uh, those foundations. So again, it's about learning how to present yourself. For example, the build your name, there's 5 chapters in there, and you want to know how I built the chapters too, Rick? Because the build your name is based on Marie, Marie. Okay. And build your brand is based on Antoinette, Antonettete. And build your legacy is based on Waite, Wait. So if anybody wants to remember what's in this book, they just have to remember my full name. That's how I created this. And it was really interesting when I started putting this together. I was sitting in my living room and I was thinking, how can I make this easier for people to remember all this information? And I started, for some reason, it was just an easy 1 hour, thinking, brainstorming, and I was able to create this. And so again, for the give you one example, for the build your name, the first letter is M. It stands for memorable. Okay.
All right.
And so there's an acronym for each letter that you can learn how to build your name and build your brand and then ultimately your legacy.
Oh,
Sounds good?
sounds good. Fantastic. Now, where is it available on Amazon and other
Yes.
sources?
It is available on Amazon and it's also going to be available for Audible. I just completed that and I gave that to the publishing agency, and hopefully it's going to be available soon in Amazon.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
What's next? What's
Oh,
next?
I'm actually working on another book, which is doesn't have anything to do with my business. It is about the karate legacy of my family. And this book is going to give a lot of inspiration in regards to leadership, in regards to discipline, and in regards to how you use um, karate uh, as part of your life, improving your life in a bigger scale. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Keep going.
So this book is based on my grandfather being the founder of karate in the Philippines,
Hmm.
and also with my uncle and my dad who made over 100 karate movies. They were both karate experts also, and then my mom being the first female black belter of the Philippines. So
Are you a student of karate?
I was my dad had trained a lot of the police force in the Philippines, and I was the one who was training the military at that time. So it was such an incredible experience with my dad when he was very active with it. And I don't practice karate anymore because I've been so busy with my building my business. But there are some things that I use from learning karate. It's the discipline, it's the
Yeah.
focus, it's the leadership, it's the some of the techniques of karate I look for when I am going out there and looking at other people who's doing karate. I look for those things, and if I don't see it, I can tell it's not a grounded karate for me. My daughter actually became a black belter. I enrolled her when she was 5 years old,
Oh,
and so
wow.
she became a black belter after she finished the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I can see how disciplined. Definitely, you were able to take that with you and start to build. Now, were you always in real estate? Did you start off from the
No.
real estate industry, or did you work somewhere? Or
Yes, I started in a manufacturing company actually. It's a clothing company, and I was there for yeah, taking care of the payroll system for 2,000 employees. Okay, and then for the after that, I got into healthcare. When I moved in here in the United States, I ended up being in the healthcare industry. And this is where I spent about, 11 years in one organization and 3 years in another. So you're talking about 15 years of being in the healthcare industry. And after that, I got into real estate. It was like it was crazy opening a real estate brokerage with no experience, and I won't advise anybody to do that, but we did. And because of that decision, I have to really create something to make it work for us, and I have to recruit agents, and I was very successful in recruiting 50 agents for the company because I'm a go-getter.
right, right, right. Well,
So
that comes through. That
Yeah.
definitely comes through, and it's a great story of moving from one industry to another, developing great experience that allowed you probably the confidence to say, okay, I'm going to build a real estate company and take it from there into other aspects of your business. You know, creating additional wealth and through other business opportunities that have spun off your real estate ventures.
Yeah, because I feel like real estate is a big industry that involves so many people, including the community.
Yeah,
That's why I ended up creating the nonprofit organization, because you're talking about, how it affects real estate when the community is not thriving. That's why I ended up doing that nonprofit organization, because during the 2008, do you remember that time when it was a down market?
yeah.
I was going out, and I knocked doors. I At that time I was introducing myself to all businesses, and I have no problem doing that. And I realized some of the companies that I met were now gone because they closed their business, and I felt like, why is this happening? So I had to do something about it, and I created an event at the parking lot where my building was, and I gathered about 28 companies to do a business expo. We didn't really have a lot of people at that time because it was so hot and we were in the city of Temecula. But I talked to them and I said, this is the vision. This is what I wanted to do. And 10 people came to work with me. They said, yes, Marie, we will help you. And so the next event, we were able to do it in another parking lot, but it was with the school, high school here in Temecula. And it was a bigger parking lot. And we had 107 companies that participated, and we ended up raising money for the school. So because of that, it's like understanding when you are a business professional in any community, you need to make sure that you look at your entire community and see how you can make a difference. Because of what I did, I ultimately created the branding that was that for me, because I wasn't even focusing on branding, to be honest with you. It just came along with it because I was doing so much for the community that the city of Temecula ended up sponsoring all my events. And I had like a 3-day event in the city of Temecula that was sponsored by the city. So, again, it's the branding was being built while I was doing all these things for the community. And that's something that people need to learn, that they need to be involved in the community in order to make their environment better and for all the businesses also to thrive.
I think for the viewers and listeners of this podcast episode, this is a great lesson in drive, ambition, vision, entrepreneurship, creating referrals, and just the impact on a community that one person can have, and that anybody can do it. It's not just limited to the multi-talented Marie Antonette Waite, but if you have that drive, go for it, right?
Well, I think part of it too, Rick, is understanding what your vision is. If you have a vision that you can see yourself, you just go, do whatever it takes to make that happen. And part of it is also caring for other people while you're looking at your vision. Okay, because you can't be alone in this whole business. You have to have people along with you, that you're taking them with you. It's like a train, right? You got
Mm-hmm.
to come in my train and we can all go together. And that's how I always work. I never really looked at my projects as just for me. I always want to make sure that there's benefits for other people, that I can, improve their business or enhance their branding. And that's what I love seeing. I always tell people that one of my visions, which actually one of my main vision, is I see myself sitting in front of a VIP seat, cheering for the client that I just helped, and they're receiving some recognition, or they're getting an award. And I love to be in that position where, yes, I did my job. They're up there and they're very successful. And that's one of my visions. And that's why I do what I do, because I know I am good at certain things, especially marketing, branding, promoting people. I know how to close deals. And so right now I'm actually going to help speakers get booked for paid speaking and contracts. That's where I want to see, because I see all the speakers paying lots of money to learn and how they can become paid speakers, but no one is really uh, taking them to where they can get those contracts, right?
Mhm.
That's
Right.
the missing part. So now I realize, well, I can do that. If I know who you are, what you represent, what your branding is, and everything that you offer, I can pitch that to an organization and provide the value to them and match those two. And I can say this speaker can help you with this, this, and this, and this. And so why would they not take that information? Why would they not pay the speaker when they're
Yeah.
getting all this value from this individual, right?
Right. Right.
So
Well,
so that's what I'm
that's what you're working on currently.
yes, and I not only that is because I was the keynote speaker from my last event. His name is Kit Robinson. He's an amazing actor, and I got him to be the keynote speaker. And now after that event, he realized he wants to be in the speaking world, and he called me and said, "Marie, I want you to help me, and I want to be in the speaking world." And so now there's that pressure, right? Man, this is an actor. Who needs my help? But I'm like thinking, what is the best thing I can do for him? That's when I started thinking about Glenn Morshower, who is someone that I admire speaking. 10 years ago, I met him and I watched him speak. This was 10 years ago, but I was connected to him in Facebook, but never really had an opportunity to work with him. So I sent him a message. You're talking about 10 years. Okay. I sent him a message and he replied to me, and we tried to connect with each other, and we did some phone tag. But finally, when we had a conversation, I explained to him what I was trying to do is to help someone to get to the place where he wants to be, and he agreed with me. And now he actually is coming to my Fire Up Live event this year, and he's going to be my keynote presenter, and he is offering to teach speakers how to be a better speaker in this event.
So, okay, that'd be a separate workshop in your Fire Up Live.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's such an incredible gift because Glenn Morshower is an active movie actor. He is currently filming movies right now, and he even told us that he's going to be the president of the United States for this movie that he's working on. But he understood what I was trying to do, and he's taking the time to come here on October 19 to speak and to help the speakers. Imagine that. That is an incredible opportunity. So again, this, if you really evaluate what I just did, I was just trying to help someone in order to take them to where they want to go, and being creative and thinking who is someone that I can bring into this, who can help him be the best speaker so I can book him, successfully. Because of
Mhm.
course, I mean, I need to make sure that whoever I'm pitching, that they have everything that I need to make this organization, feel like they're getting the value, right? We're
Right.
talking about the value here. So, and that's how I look at things. Anybody that I work with, I look at what's the value for someone else.
Well, that's incredible. Looking at the value for someone else first and before yourself. Well, I want to wrap up. It's been fantastic and a privilege having you as a guest
Thank
to
you.
express to our listening and viewing audience that entrepreneurship is alive, creating this great network of people and businesses and impacting your community and thinking of others is a definite way to approach business and life. So I'll just give you the last words and we'll close it out. Thank you, Marie.
So, yeah, thank you so much, Rick, for having me here today. And, your leadership, your qualities, I got to know you. It's such a privilege to be connected to you. And the fact that you have, invited me and asked me to share my stories, I really appreciate that. And to everyone that's listening and watching this show, I think, to be connected with Rick is a blessing. He's got amazing management skills, and that's something I love about him. And I've known him for gosh, maybe 2 years now, Rick. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so it's an incredible gift for anyone to be connected with Rick, and for you who's trying to be an entrepreneur or building your name, be sure to get my book. Who do you think you are? There's a lot of good information in there, and I'm also going to um, offer an online course for building your name, brand, and legacy. Thank you.
You're welcome. We look forward to your online course coming out.
Yes.
Appreciate it. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
You've been tuning into Is Franchising Right for You with your host, Rick Morgin. You can find more episodes on all the major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Thank you for your positive reviews, comments, questions, and for sharing this show with others.